So you understand, like, the word, the sound, represents a distinction. But the distinction you make may not be the one I'm trying to convey, you see? So it probably will have some relationship to it. That's why we use the word. You know what I'm saying? Because integrity does mean something, and, specific. What I'm saying, though, is there's an experience there. If you take out all the crap that's associated with integrity in the word and all the baggage and all the morality and everything, and you try to grasp, what is it? Like I say with the porcelain vase. That's all. You see? It has integrity because it's whole. That's it. You crack it, it no longer has integrity. And you see the consequences of cracking it. It doesn't work well. It falls apart more, etc. Because probably everybody's had some experience with cracked vases or some such thing like that, right? And usually it just cracks more. You just gotta throw it away. You might take some glue and try to keep it wet, but still it doesn't work really well. But when it's solid, so like the samurai swords, or the other swords too, but they always did that. But the samurai are very into it. They make the sword. When the blacksmith's making the sword, see, there's different elements of steel. See, so it's not iron, it's steel. It's a mixture of metals, and so they have to they melt it down, and then pound it out, and then cool it off, and then melt it down and pound it out, and cool it out, melt it down, pound it out, and they do this for a long, long time, so that eventually, see, from the melting and the pounding and the melting and the pounding, eventually the sword, the molecules in the sword have integrity. They have an intense integrity. They're all unified. They're all aligned. See, there's no, you know what I'm saying? There's like no little piece of iron in there that separates the iron from the rest of the steel or something, or some other, I don't know what other stuff is used in steel, but anyway, so I have to stop with the iron part, but you know what I'm saying? See, so you can see that you're making a samurai sword, and you throw in some chunks of wood, and then it hardens. It's probably going to break under pressure, right? And it's going to break where the chunk of wood is. That's clear, right? I mean, just just physics. See, but then they make it so that you can bend it and it won't break. You can smack it, it won't break. It's like that, blah, blah, blah. And because the molecules are so finely arranged, eventually, see, and so unified, they have such integrity that it also keeps a sharper edge. Doesn't break down the same way. Anyway, you see what I'm saying? See, I'm using these objects to get a sense of integrity that's not moral. I mean, the samurai would say, that's a damn good sword, but it's not a morality. See? It's like, because it functions really well. It's a super sword or whatever. You see, so once you get that, and then you say, okay, now how do I apply this kind of objective example or metaphor to my own experience? See, well, you got to melt yourself down and hammer yourself out, melt yourself down and hammer yourself out, or whatever, or you got to watch for the cracks, See? And one of the cracks is between like your internal state and your expression, your internal state and your expressions or your communications, you see? And if those are different, then there's a split. See, if you got something going on here and you present that, and that's not the same, they're not matching, there's a split. And you live within that split. And see, what I'm trying to say here is there's consequences for that. And we overlook the consequence, because the reason we do it is because we want to get something. See, I want to get the lollipop, and so I'm going to say this, even though I feel that, or whatever, and I'm going to manipulate, see, so I eventually get the lollipop. See, but you're not noticing what you're doing to your experience. You see, you're not noticing that, because it's always this way. It's like the stuff that you do to your experience is big stuff. It's It's constant life stuff. See? And the reason you do this stuff that lacks integrity is immediate stuff. Getting the lollipop. Avoid the fear, whatever. Don't get the consequence, whatever, blah, 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 lie. See? Those things, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? See, those are the immediate things. And so you go, okay, look, I'm managing this. But you don't notice, while you're managing that and you're going down that road, you're affecting the whole. See, you don't notice that. People don't notice that. See, the consequence is going to show up, and for example, in your real self-esteem, your sense of authenticity, your sense of oneness, transparency, honesty. It's going to show up in your sense of what you really think about yourself and your relationship to other people. It has to. You understand? This is not a moral issue. It's a fact, Jack. See, it has to show up there. Do you understand what I'm saying here? It's not just a psychological matter or something. It's an existential act. You've done that. And there are consequences to doing that and living inside of that. And most people don't see it. They don't see it. And the thing that they don't see is that they're disempowering themselves. They're making them smaller. Themselves smaller. They're reducing their relationship to other people. They're reducing their sense of their own self, their own power, just to get the lollipop. See, and if you understand that, you wouldn't do it. See, if you understand the costs, the consequences, you wouldn't do it. You go, oh, you want me to give up my entire beingness and power and presence and reality and living, in this world for a lollipop? No, thank you. No, merci. That's, Cyrano. No, merci. Okay. Cyrano de Bergerac. In any case, it's like, did you see the movie Man for All Seasons? Anybody see that movie? See, nobody's ever seen that. Good. So anyway, Man for All Seasons is it's about Thomas More, Sir Thomas More. Yeah, did I get that right? There's a couple guys. I think it's Sir Thomas More. Anyway, he was friends with King Henry VIII, and you might have heard Henry was not a very nice guy. He did a lot of stuff. He cut off heads for his wives and stuff because the church wouldn't allow him to divorce. He created a whole new church. He's the guy that created the Church of England because the fucking Catholics, wouldn't let him do shit he wanted to do, which is have a lot of wives mostly and other stuff. But in any case, Becket. I knew it wasn't More. It's Becket. Thomas Becket. See, so Becket was a friend of his. They fought in some wars and stuff like that. But Becket was seriously devoted to Christian ethic and everything. See, and so King Henry made him in charge of the church, and Becket said, "Please don't do that." He said, "I will serve, the master of that, and I cannot serve you. See, I will serve God. I won't serve you. See, so don't do that. Don't ask me to do that, because I know what you're up to here." And yes, sir.
Henry II, it looks like.
Second. That wasn't 8?
Thomas Becket, also known as St. Thomas of Canterbury.
Yeah.
December 11, 19.
Well, I guess it's the song Henry VIII, I Am. It gets me every time. So anyway, in any case.
Conflict with Henry II.
Yeah, okay, good. One of those Henrys. So, thanks. So in any case, in the movie, it's a long movie. You can watch the whole thing, or just fast forward to the end. And or there's a couple places in there where like integrity is just beaming. Say, and one of the places where he's called in front of, and they kept trying to get him to lie, manipulate, indirectly. See, use the words that make it sound good. See, and he would say, he's sitting there, and he knew what they're going to do. They're going to kill him. Say, And they say, look, and they're bending over backwards because, the king did not want to kill him. And it wouldn't have looked good and all that kind of shit. See? So they want to go. See, trying to find a way for him to couch, his statements so that, it would go along with the king. And he said, look, I understand, I appreciate what you're trying to do here, but really what you're trying to do is ask me to lie. You want me to lie, and I'm not going to do it. And boom, boom, and they throw him into the prison and stuff. And it's amazing how he stayed constantly true. No, I understand what you want, but I'm not going to lie. And then his daughter comes and sees him, and there's a scene there, near the end. And they're going to cut his head off. And he knows it. And his daughter's pleading with him, please just tell them what they want to hear. That's all you have to do, and they'll let you go. You come out of here, otherwise they're going to kill you. And he says, you don't understand. He says, yourself, and he's talking about his self in a bigger sense than most people do. He says, yourself is like, holding yourself is like holding water in your hands. You see? He says, this is what you have. He says, if you lie, if you separate your fingers, the water is going to pass through your hands, and don't expect to find yourself easily again. He says, you're going to lose yourself. See? And he says, and in the end, it really comes down to love. He said it's about love. Now, and they chopped his head off. Now that guy's committed, See? And he was clear about integrity in his world. And that's quite something. And he's, real person, really died. He really, let them chop his head off. And all he had to do was just say what they wanted to hear. See? And he could even do it in such a way that it didn't violate, in theory. See? It didn't violate, like, what is really going on here. See? And he still wouldn't do it. He says, no, I know what you wanted. You're trying to get me to lie. So even if I say it that way, what sounds good from my end, it's not. I'm lying. Anyway, so I'm, see, now he understood something much, much bigger than getting the lollipop. Okay? He had to, All right.